Yeah.
There's a lot. Can we talk about the elements of healthy sexual relationships?
Okay. So with sexual relationships, there should be, for it to be healthy, there must be, first of all, open communication.
Okay.
There must be mutual consent.
Okay.
There must be emotional, stability.
Okay.
There must also be physical satisfaction,
Okay.
and there must be protection of the person's sexual health.
Okay.
So these are the main, components or elements of a healthy sexual relationship. I can go through them one
Okay.
after the other.
Let's
I
go
have
through them. Yeah.
a particular chart which talks about characteristics of sexually healthy adults from one Hartzell and Associates
Okay.
in 2010. So the elements that I've mentioned,
Yeah.
there are certain things. So for example, in communication, there is communication. Communicate respectfully with your spouse about your desire to have sex and not to have sex. So even the aspect of when to have sex and not when not to have it must be effectively communicated. So in a healthy sexual relationship, that openness should be available. And then also, there must be a space where the partner can openly communicate with the other partner on sexual preferences, which are of course healthy. So the other person should be able to tell you that, oh, I would want to do this. The two partners should be able to discuss this and understand whether they want to go that way or not,
Okay.
whether it's going to help individually or not. So all this is important in a healthy sexual relationship. There must be open communication.
So you don't come and impose, you discuss.
Yes.
And you agree.
Yes, you
Okay.
discuss.
Okay.
You discuss, and yeah. So that is very, very important.
Yeah. Okay.
And then the other aspect is about consent. Consent. So sexual acts must be consensual.
Even within marriage.
Even within marriage, yes, exactly. So the person has a right to get to a point and say, I don't want it anymore. And the other partner should respect that. So when there is, this cannot be said, I cannot say no to my husband, then that particular relationship is unhealthy. There must be the chance for the other partner to say, I want or I don't want.
And you have to respect
Yes.
their
And
decision.
yes. So there must be an open understanding and consent for sex.
Okay.
It must be a two-way thing. You know, it must be two-way. So the other partner is interested and wants to have sex. You also want it, and then the two of you are
On the same page.
Yes. So, but in our setting, it is not. It's not easily done because in most cases, sex is seen as for the men. So mostly the women are doing it because they want to please their partners.
So even if you're
And
not
so even when they are
comfortable-
not comfortable, you're not able to talk about it. In a healthy sexual relationship, there must be mutual consent when it comes to sex.
Okay.
Then another aspect is having self-esteem and self-worth. So in a healthy sexual relationship, each person should appreciate their own body. This is very much even for males as well as for females. You know, as you age, of course, a little time will start
Coming,
coming.
protruding.
Exactly, and then
the skin folding underneath the eyes.
yes, and then the women as well, when they have children, you know,
Side.
their stomach would change, but they should be able to accept themselves for who they are, and the other person should also accept it. So if there is no self-worth in the relationship, then that is an unhealthy one. And then also, they should be sensually aware and able to stay conscious in their own bodies and be conscious about it and be okay with it. And then they should be able to allow themselves to be touched by the other partner without feeling shame or disgust.
Okay.
So that is, and then also have the capacity to accept not nurturing from the other partner. So all these are parts of the self, wealth and self-esteem. Then there should also be respect,
Okay.
in the sexual relationship. So they should respect each other's boundaries, and then also respect each other's values and preferences. So even though in the sexual act, one person may want a particular thing, right? The other person may say, I don't want this thing, I don't want it. The other partner may have all the good intentions for that act to be done, yet the other person would not want that. So you have to respect the other person and accept it and find ways and means to, achieve the same thing. So an example can be maybe some women will not want oral sex, for example. They won't want it. They don't want to do it on the man, or they don't want the man to do it on them. But then you realize that for the woman to also, and probably most women, as we know, would not orgasm by penetrative sex. So you need to have another way to be able to, pleasure the woman.
Other than the
oral sex.
Okay.
So once the person doesn't want it, you can talk and talk and talk, but if the person doesn't want, you have to respect that and find another way to achieve the same thing, without necessarily doing what exactly the person wants to be done. So that is very, very important. And then also emotional intimacy is very important. I always use this example when it comes to this. When in Genesis, when God was defining marriage, it says that a man will leave his father and mother and cleave with his wife, and the two become one flesh. So there are three elements there. The first is the leaving. The second is the cleaving. And the third is the one flesh. They are interconnected. So the leaving is the relationship. The fact that you have a relationship with one person. And that is the public and legal, framework when it comes to marriage. So they need to be, you need to be married. You need to have a license. As somebody say, you need license for everything. So
to drive, so you need license.
You need license to to have a healthy sexual relationship. Yeah. So I always ask people who are into any relationship, do you have a license?
No, they are illegal drivers.
They are illegal drivers.
So we need to put the police
exactly.
on them.
So that is important.
Yeah.
And then the cleaving is the intimacy. Okay. So you need to be emotionally connected to one another. You should know when your spouse is not happy. It shouldn't be rocket science. You should get so connected to each other that you would know when she's not happy. So even during a sexual act, you should be able to decipher and see that this is not helping the woman. The woman is in pain. Yeah. Sometimes some men would probably think that the pain is part of the sexual, ecstasy. But sometimes it's not. When you finish the act and she tells you how bruised she is, then you will know that you thought she was happy, but she wasn't. Yeah. And it happens a lot in several sexual relationships, even among married couples. So it is important to know the person. And the women, they are more emotional. When it comes to sex, you need to satisfy that emotional part. If you don't, then the sex will be just for an obligation that she needs to perform. So the emotional intimacy is very important. And when that happens, the sex also becomes very good. So they are all connected. The one flesh is the sexual act. So here, this is a relationship which is licensed. And then they are bonded. They are intimate with each other. Intimacy also relates with the communication, and then the mutual consent, and then respect for one another.
And the emotional.
And then the last part is the physical, which is the one flesh. So with the one flesh, that is the physical satisfaction. It should be a goal for every sexual act to be beneficial to the two partners involved. That should be a goal for every sexual act. If both partners, plan this and make it a goal, then they are in a healthy sexual relationship. And the last one is more or less like protecting their sexual health. So that is very important. You need to do things that are sexually healthy. Sexually healthy. There could be several phases to this. Practicing safe sex, and then doing regular checkups to be sure that you are healthy as a whole, and then with the sex as well. So it must be protective. And so all these components are what is required for a healthy sexual relationship. And these are the elements. So the first is communication. It should be open. There should be mutual consent for sex. You can't just have it because you are up. There must be an agreement.
The two of you are on the same page.
Exactly.
And you agree on what activity. And even during the activity, if you don't feel okay.
You can, and when the person decides that I don't want it, you should respect it and then end it. It is difficult, but it is all showing of love. If you love the other person and at a particular point the person feels whatever is happening is harmful, and so let's end it. Just stop it.